We're rolling? Ugh, you little bastard. Yeah, Pikachu's back from his vacation. He sent me a postcard saying, wish you were here. And I texted him back, like, you little bastard. You didn't invite me in the first place. And he said, I thought you were used to that by now, not being invited anywhere. And had to give it to the little bastard. He's right on that. And then he gets into an international incident involving the cartels, the Acapulcan police, Pokemon trading cards, and a surfer girl. And then he hits me up for bail money. The best I could do is coordinate a jailbreak. Good to have you back. Nice tan. Welcome once again to the Comics Coffee Table new release reviews. I hope I got it in me today, man. Seriously, I'm hit the wall with comic books. Not old comic books, but new comic books. I mean, we're going to get into that. Seriously. We have to. I mean, that's what the show's about. The show must go on, right? And this is our Geeky chill stream, and I'm at Fan Expo Boston all weekend. Geeking it out, meeting friends, hopefully making new ones. Maybe I'll even meet a nice lady. That's not going to happen. Yeah, I know it. You know it. But welcome, and take a break. Pull up a chair to our Comics Coffee Table. It's new release Sunday. We're going to review all of these comics I bought this Wednesday. It was slim pickings this week. It really was. I mean, there was only one thing that I bought at my local comic book shop. And it wasn't even that good. Seriously. And we'll get to that. But also, I was gifted by a friend of a friend of mine, an internet friend of mine, one of my co-panelists on one of the shows that I'm usually on with. I don't want to, humble brag or even get him in trouble by mentioning their name and where this came from, but they shared with me their Dropbox, and I got to read all the new Marvel comic releases this week, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 different Marvel comic books, and I kind of blew through most of them, but a few of them I was kind of happy with. Yet overall, I'm happy I didn't spend any money on them. So we're going to spend more time talking about Marvel magazines and than what I bought. What did I buy? Well, first of all, let's say we are a geeky chill stream. We meet up as often as we can. We used to have a daily show. I mean, I'm going to return to that eventually. I mean, I'm just struggling to make content at this point. Well, comic book shop style content, because I'm running on empty, and I'm so disillusioned and disenchanted with new releases these days, and I'll get to that. It's kind of, we've already talked about it a bit too. It's the quality of the art for me over the storytelling, and there's no going back on that too, because that's progress, and this is the way the publishing industry is now. And you know what? It's stick a pin in that, as my doctor likes to say. I haven't seen him in years. But let's get to it. All right. What's in the bag? I know, what's in the bag? What's for the new releases? Well, I got 14 digital copies. I'm not going to share their screen grabs. I don't want to. Yeah, we don't do that. I don't produce the show like that. It's kind of more of a leans more to a podcast flavor. but I've never used. I need to use StreamYards or something like that to. I don't know. We have lo-fi charm here, and it's the executive producers. You know, if you wanted to spend some money on something to show, you know, I just don't. Yeah, huh? But I will show this. This is what I bought this week for $3.99, and it's been delayed a few times. It's not part of either the Dawn of DC, and it's not part of Night Terrors. But I've been reading this because I'm a big fan of Jeff Johns. And I think it's, well, you know, Michael Jannon's art is digital line art that goes right to a digital colorist. And there's one page of Jerry Ordway art in here for some kind of flashback scene. But I mean, just more of this soulless digital art. But that's where publishing is today. And I mean, I can only choose to be part of it or not part of it. I can only choose to spend my money on it or not. I can only choose to dedicate physical space and resources. And for what? For comics that I'm more than likely never going to read again. It's I'm just really kind of just all set with it. Yeah, here's Jerry Ordway's only page. And there's always something so depressing about seeing heroes strung up upside down. And there too, like, you know, that's a Legion of Superheroes, and look, it's classic Legion as well. And let's see, can we find? Yeah, there's Cosmic Boy. There's Lightning Lad, and look, he's a Caucasian redhead. So that's, and there's I'm looking for Cosmic Boy or Cosmic Lad or. Yeah, I'm looking for Cause in here. Give me Cause to there he is. Okay. Yeah, he's Asian in the foreboot, I think, but I don't think I can't tell from here because he's dead. But definitely, Lightning Lad was made into a person of color, and that's not, and he's not there, so. I mean, what's the point of that? I don't know. It's just, we call that race swapping for, you know, yeah. But, you know, we got that big splash page, and I'm so confused with this title too. It's like, you know, there's like all these time lost Legionnaires. You got the new Golden Age Red Lantern, who is going to have a secret history with Alan Scott, the original Green Lantern, and I'm going to skip that too. I mean, there's going to be a Golden Age Flash book with Jeremy Adams, but written by Jeremy Adams. It's going to focus on Jay Garrick, Flash, and his daughter Joan, who is removed from the timeline and now back in the story. And so we've got, you know, two versions of Power Girl. And I'm kind of like, This is kind of a hot mess, this comic. And here, some good old fashioned cut and paste onomatopoeia. Thoom. Well, it just lacks. I don't know. I feel such a downer lately. It's just I got no time for this anymore. Really, yeah. And here at the end, Joni's back. Aww. And coming into the dawn of DC and the new golden age we were promised. But it's. it's unsatisfying to me. I mean, the story, Jeff Johns usually tells a good tale. But here's the thing, baseball analogy. People that get a lot of on base, get a lot of base hits, sluggers, they also strike out a lot too, because, they're aiming for the ball. They're trying to get hits. And you know what? Sluggers strike out a lot. So it happens occasionally that even Jeff Johns is going to have a few strikeouts here and there. So this probably is my last issue of Justice Society. I'm not interested in this low quality art. I mean, this is the digital art, digital assisted art. It's digital line art that goes straight to a digital colorist. So it's skipping the inker because they're not using pencils in Bristol anymore. It's because it's convenient to the producers. And guess what? It's just as convenient for me to pass on products like this. I mean, but that's where the industry's going. Digital inking, digital coloring, digital lettering have been around for pretty near 20 years now. You think, you would have gotten used to it. But, I mean, what's the point of printing these things up for the trade? And then I just find it lacks charm. It lacks soul. And it's going to be lacking in my long boxes, my short boxes rather. It's I don't have it for this anymore. I mean, your first clue is going to be in the credits. It goes right from the artist to the colorist, bypassing the inker. So it's for one, you don't have, the artists don't have a physical copy of this which they can sell as art to a fan. I mean, that's great. I mean, that's always been a big bonus to wow, you have an actual page? Isn't it, that's just, that's a wonderful artifact. So we're bypassing that step. Another thing is you're taking a job away from a working artist, the inker. And the inker, oh, you're nothing but a tracer. That's an old Kevin Smith joke from Chasing Amy. But it gives definition. It gives texture. It gives gravity to a two-dimensional image. And so you're taking a job away from an artist. And then with the infinite color palette, we're subjected to nothing but this color here, purple, pink, blue, and it's in advertising everywhere. And it's like I get it. You're trying to condition us to accept a color combination that is representative of certain core values of a certain population. I get it. But it lacks the eye-popping, characteristics associated with comics of the primary colors. And just there's a joyous kind of, thing to a limited palette in a way, in my humble opinion. Remember, this is all my opinion. And I'm not right. I'm not wrong. I'm just a customer. I'm just a lifelong fan. And there's just something in the quality of this art that just it's not quality. It's lazy and it skips steps. So you've removed the inker from the equation. You've taken a job away from a working artist. Also, these things get exported overseas. Every artist in the big two seems to be yo hablo español, yo trabajo con muchos latinos y latinas, yo tengo mucho respeto a mi corazón para mi gente, mi familia de mi trabajo, la comida, mira mi brazo, ay chingón, mira. So don't say I have disrespect for Latino people. I mean, I'm a professional chef. I've been working in the restaurant industry for over 30 years. I mean, who is the population of my workspace? It's a lot of Latinos and Latinas. So I don't want to hear, anything about, oh, you're some kind of, estafoba. No, yeah, chingate cabrón. Ay, ay, ay. And now, oh, you said cabrón. No, just stop splitting hairs. Jeez. But everybody it seems to be, we're outsourcing the art duties to Central, South America, where you can do digital line art and click and point and just email it back to the office, which is great because you're getting the page rate. There's something called a page rate. That is how much an artist, an inker, and a writer, or a colorist, or a letterer gets paid per page for, say, a 20 to 22 page book of art. Now, this is advertised as 28 pages, and but it's 6 to 8 of these pages are house ads. House ads, Gee, but let's see. Look at that Batman right there. This is a great example. See, that's not a zipatone, and that's not. That's a digital filter meant to emulate that sort of shadowing. I'm just like, and it looks fun. I mean, like, I hear this is a really fun kind of story, the Wayne Family Adventures, which is a webtoon, but now you're printing up webtoons. I mean, I don't want that in my collection. I have no satisfaction with this level of professional art. So it's like, so you've outsourced all of this work overseas, and to people that will jump at the chance to get a lower page rate so they can get published. North American artists and traditional artists, they literally can't afford the DC, Marvel, and just whomever else can't afford the page rates that traditional North American artists can, because there's a different standard of living in other places. So, this is like basically, maybe even gatekeeping North American talent, because, we have a different standard of living here. I mean, rents have never been so expensive. And, groceries, gasoline, different. I mean, so how can an American artist compete with the page rate? I mean, and have a standard of living. This is one of the big things we hear about in comic book culture, and of creators, is that, like, I can't make a living wage doing what I love and what I've been trained to do. Why? Because you have international competition who will chomp at the bit and accept a lower page rate. And a lot of that, it is alarming, isn't it? I live down the street from a firehouse. Ladies, gentlemen, firemen, firewomen, and everyone in between, please come home safe. And we always hope it's a false alarm. And come home safe, everyone, please. I grew up with firefighters in my family. But I don't want, one of the hallmarks of our show here, and this time we spend together at the Comics Coffee Table, is about embracing the positives. I just don't see a lot of positives in modern comics anymore. I took a long break after Heroes in Crisis. I gave up on DC Comics, but it was the voices in my community who appealed to me, saying that, wow, you're not reading Jeremy Adams, you're not reading Philip Kennedy Johnson, you're not reading Daniel Warren Johnson, you're not reading World's Finest by Mark Waid. And I'm like, you got my attention, and you got me buying them again. Great. But now it might be time to step away from that. And, I just, and my poor local comic book shops, how are they supposed to compete with, they'll either be fine or not fine. But I know that they need my patronage, and I know that they need my business. But I simply don't want to spend my money, time, and space unsatisfactory product. So I mean, just I don't have any answers. All I have are more questions. So it's like, why can't the industry standard is going to go up to $4.99 an issue very soon, especially all across the board. It's been $3.99 an issue since 2012. I got that information from Comicron and their median cover price page. And you don't get advertising revenue from outside sources. All you have are house ads. And so how are you supposed to afford to pay your artists, especially domestic artists who do have that higher standard of living and who struggle with their health care and with their rents? There's nothing worse in the world than seeing comic book creators who hate me for liking and buying comic book people who they consider stinky and ists and phobes and Yahtzees. I mean, and I'm adjacent to that, and I get blocked on Twitter by these people. But now to see them passing the hat and being like, I can't make my rent, I can't pay for my medical bills, I can't pay for my food. How am I supposed to, be compassionate enough to help these people when they weren't compassionate in the first place to me? I mean, this whole thing of respect and compassion is to be compassionate to those who are distant from you. It's a spiritual tenet of mine that, through Hinduism and through the Bhagavad Gita. And it is frustrating, but why can't the North American comic book producers pay the domestic talent a fairer page rate? It's because they've shipped out all of their art duties to non-domestic sources. That's a big part of the equation. And how are they supposed to generate proper revenues when you don't have proper ads anymore? I don't know. I mean, it's not a terrible comic. It landed pretty flatly. And I'm just going to walk away from it. And thank you for the experience. Thank you, Jeff Johns. I mean, he gets a great page, right? Because he's top tier. He's A-list talent. He sells comic books. His name is, I've been buying them. A lot of you out there too. Will I continue? I don't think so. No. It's going to take, for me, I'm going to embrace the past, spend my time, money, and physical space on older comics, appreciating the organic line, appreciating the art that's behind it. Because there's a soullessness to this. It looks a lot like AI art to me. And it's just, But let's get to the Marvel comics. I read 14 Marvel comics this week. Thank you, Jim. I don't want to dox you. Yeah, but a friend of mine just sent me a DM, said, "Hey, read these," and I'm like, "Oh, cool." So I read The Amazing Spider-Man Annual #1 for 2003. I read Astonishing X-Men #1 by Steve Orlando. Death of the Venomverse, Doctor Strange. Issue 6, Fantastic Four, #10. Magneto #1 by J. Michael Straczynski with art by Todd Knock that I was going to buy, and I'm glad I saw this preview copy, and for everything I just listed above. So you have Todd Knock, who is an A-list talent and one of my favorites, but then you have the whole digitalitis of this. Digititis? No, I don't want to. Digitalitis. There's Moon Knight 26, Scarlet Witch #7, Strange Academy #1, Star Wars Dark Droids #1, Star Wars Yoda is it #10 or #1? #10. And there was Warlord Rebirth #5. What If Dark? What If Venom Took Over Ben Grimm? By Stephanie Phillips. And we have X-Men number 25 by Jerry Duggan and Company. And this is the whole Fall of X, the whole post Hellfire Gala. And I gotta say, every single one of these, with the exception of Warlord Rebirth and number 5, was, that suffers from, and this is my humble opinion, this is my opinion, please, it suffers from digital line art going to skipping the inker, going right to the digital colorist. And it just blows my mind. You have this infinite color palette, and all we're given are these muddled backgrounds, of purple, pink, and blue. I wonder why. We don't know. But I will say this: I like Ron Mars as a writer. I always have. I'm a big Kyle Rayner Green Lantern fan. I loved his work on that. Really did. But the thing about this is that he's got Ron Lim. Ron Mars and Ron Lim are this like Silver Surfer combo. Good stuff. But he's got Don Ho inking him. So this is the only funny book in this stack that has a traditional pencils and inker combo. And I can feel that. There's a visual tactility to this, a visual shorthand too, such as hatchings and cross hatchings, proper shadows, and this and the pacing in this comic. The story, I hadn't read any of these comic books, and a lot of these actually weren't that bad. Some of them, but there's just getting over the whole cut and paste onomatopoeia. For onomatopoeia is a word that's spelled the way it sounds. Swoosh, thump, snicked, flip. It's the sound effects, and it's more and more. It's just click, drag, drop, charmless, and that's just modern editing. Maybe you have to get with the times. Do I, or do I? Can I just say like this is second rate? This is professional. I know, I can make the choice to pass on it. But Warlord, Warlock Rebirth number 5 is the only one that has the traditional pencil inker combo. And I'm very grateful to that because I can feel it. I can see it. It is a visual tactility for me. And it's got great pacing, great panel panel placement, and I walked into this funny book cold. I really enjoyed it. I'm like, oh, this was a really good story told. I'm very grateful that I have good taste, that I can discern that. And but like I said, like X-Men 25, like people like to dunk on Jerry Duggan. I don't. I actually like Jerry Duggan. And to be completely honest with you, I have real life friends who are friends with the Duggans. Okay? I'm not going to say anything bad about Jerry or in his work. You know what I mean? Because last thing I want to do is get in touch with my friends. Now, I can be critical, but I'm not going to be like, I'm not going to bash him or diss him. That's just not, I don't like tearing people down. That's like, not my thing. I don't get my jollies off of that. I get my jollies off of good art and good storytelling. But X-Men 25, it's like what happened at the Hellfire Gala? Well, Orcus completely almost annihilated the X-Men. And there were apparently, there was a huge body count. But that's okay because they have, resurrection protocols, and but once again, it's like it's the digital art. It lacks this human quality, except for I know this is all done to for convenience and to save time and to save money, and to but it doesn't save. It's so unsatisfying. It's like, why did you bother printing this on paper? Sequentially at a serial form in floppy format. Why don't you just do trade paperbacks? Maybe even take the whole crowdfunding thing. Those crowdfunding comics are basically $25 each, and they're basically like, some kind of trade paperback quality format, different kind of binding, and it's just, maybe it's a more efficient form of publishing. I don't know. Like I said, I don't have answers. I just have questions. And there's a part to this too where you have Kate Pride, and she goes on a kill streak against Orcus. Orcus are the anti-mutant people that have, that have recognized mutants as a threat to humanity and our place on the earth and don't want to coexist. And so Kitty goes on a kill streak. She goes on a mission because she was trained by Wolverine. Yeah. And so she's got a bit of Wolverine in her, like in her training. And so she does what he does best. And it's actually pretty entertaining. Yet, like I say, like, it's the lettering, it's the onomatopoeia, and it's and just these digital filters, like the Zipatone filters or the Ben. Are you supposed to be a Zipatone filter or a Ben Day dot filter? I mean, once again, am I a grumpy old fan? I mean, I'm dissatisfied with this level of art. You're charging us the top price for this, and you are, story-wise, it's unfulfilling in a lot of ways. But the art just blows my mind that, like, this is the modern standard. Okay, then, well, enjoy it. I mean, I don't want to be part of that anymore. I will say this though, I actually met her at, just really quickly, and Stephanie Phillips, and she gets lumped in with the generic Stephanies and the generic, like the fake geek girls, and who have like ruined comic books. I mean, there's a truth to that, but I mean, Stephanie Phillips, she was sitting next to Brian Azzarello. I had never read any of her stuff, so I didn't feel comfortable, saying like hi. I mean, I had her actually confused with Leah Williams. And I'm glad I double checked that on my phone before I opened my mouth. So all I did, I just waved to her and said hi. And, she's literally Dr. Phillips. She's got a PhD. And she's sitting next to, I believe, her boyfriend, Brian Azzarello, the great comic book scribe. So, but it's called What If? Dark. So it's taking a dark, it's like, so What If is a great old Marvel magazine. It is what the name is. We all know it, don't we? What if Daredevil was an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.? What if the Fantastic Four were the original Marvel bullpen? I grew up on What If. It's this great magazine. So this is What If Dark. What if Venom attached itself to Ben Grimm, the blue-eyed, ever-loving clobber-in-time thing? This was a really good superhero comic book story. I mean, it does still suffer from, going, from digitalitis. I'm going to coin that phrase. Digitalitis. Yeah. It suffers from that. So the cover art's really nice because there's traditional hatchings and cross hatchings. But, just Jethro Morales goes right to Israel Silva, the colorist. And but it's the cover art is by Philip Tan, and he's inked by Jay Lyston, and it's colored by Rachel Rosenberg. But Philip Tan is a really good artist, and this is actually Philip Tan is doing work with Frank Miller at Frank Miller Presents. He's doing the pencils for Ronin Book 2, and which I was like, I was saying this recently on Pop's show, that Ronin Book 2, even though I don't like the story, I find it an amazing comic book in 2023. It is so traditionally done. We have a penciler, it's in black and white too, so it's really cool. Got this manga quality. We have a penciler, an inker, and we have traditional letters by John Workman. He is up there with the in the pantheon of traditional comic book artists and John Workman, Tom Orzechowski. The list goes on and on. But I was really pleased with What If Dark Venom. I thought that was really, so it's my first Stephanie Phillips book. And, yeah, I didn't have any problems with it. Doctor Strange #6 was pretty good. I mean, Jed McKay's writing that. Magneto #1. I think the 5 or 6 issue limited with written by the brilliant J. Michael Straczynski, art by Todd Knock. I was gonna buy it just for the Todd Knock art, but no, I'm not knocking him. But it suffers from digitalitis. I just can't stand that. And oh gosh, Moon Knight #26, written by Jed McKay as well. But seriously, once again, open that magazine up. Are those supposed to be digital Ben-Day dots or digital Zipatone? I mean, it's a filter. It's not. I mean, I'm like, please, no. Away with this, please. Give me something, a bit more traditional. There were 2 Star Wars comic books here. I mean, one called Star Wars Dark Droids, which has a $5.99 cover price. And it's written by Charles Soule, who's written a lot of Star Wars. And it's about the dark side of the Force contaminating droids and making them evil. Something like that. And it's Luke and his gold lightsaber. How did Luke get a gold lightsaber? Don't ask questions. Consume. I mean, yeah. You have to be firmly entrenched in Disney Star Wars canon to accept that. I reject it. But Star Wars Yoda #10, although it suffers from digitalitis, I mean, Kevin Scott wrote a really decent Star Wars story, and it's about Yoda on Dagobah, remembering the good times, being subjected to his bad times and his bad memories, and overall, going to the dark side cave and confronting his demons. And he has this ongoing conversation with Force Ghost Obi-Wan. So it's set immediately before the events of Empire Strikes Back, and it's Obi-Wan saying, "Are you prepared to accept Luke as your student?" And by the end, Yoda says, "Yes, I am." And kind of tracking back to Last Jedi, where he says that failure is our best teacher. So it has that a bit of that to it. But overall, I mean, as a Star Wars story goes, I love Star Wars. Come on, Star Wars, the Star Wars. Do Star Wars. Nothing but Star Wars. Say, love Star Wars. Don't like Disney canon. It's called discanon. I love the irony and cleverness of discanon. It's, the whole Latin prefix of di. It's actually Greek. Sorry, dis dys. Discanon. Think about it. Wait for it. It'll be fun. But yeah, I mean, Star Wars Yoda #10 was a decent Star Wars story. Anything else here? Oh God. Oh God. Amazing Spider-Man Annual 2023. Again, suffers from digitalitis. I think it's reveling, and there's a bit to it that it's like, poor Peter Parker. This is beyond Parker luck, because MJ was trapped in an alternate Earth where time moved quicker. So she was there for years compared to Earth 616, where only a few days passed. So MJ went on with her life, accepted her new boyfriend and lover, Paul. And let me close that window real quick. Pico, you little bastard, what are you doing? You've had an attitude problem ever since you got back from Acapulco. I mean, I got up to close the window and maybe, to go tinkle. Amazing Spider-Man Annual 2023, issue 1. Oh, gosh. Oh, it's terrible. And Peter saying to them, "Oh, yeah, the three of us we'll get through this together." And like, no, Pete, she's moved on without you. And oh gosh, Astonishing Iceman #1. by Steve Orlando. It's just not made for me. And the people that it's made for, I hope you come out in droves and support your comic book because they're making it for you. It's once again, it's just terrible pacing, cringy story, and I got nothing against non-traditional relationships in fiction. I don't. It's just, you know what I mean. Just that's models of normalization. And like here you go. I just don't. I think it was weak sauce, to be honest. And I'm glad I experienced it. And it's just, once again, suffers from digitalitis. Just goes right. Oh gosh, it just I think it goes right from the artist to the color artist, and that's just it. Just yeah, these oh boy, this awful this lettering and just cut and paste onomatopoeia, and I just man, is this the new Marvel House style? I mean, I guess it is, but it's just not made for me, and I don't have. I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad like I said, I'm glad I experienced it, but it's just not made for me. So I guess my pick of the week. Do I have a pick of the week? I would say Warlord Rebirth #5, just because it's got the most traditional art. And for me, it's the most satisfactory to my eye and tastes. I really like What If Dark Venom. That was just a really good What If story. It stands alone. It's a one and done. And it's my first Stephanie Phillips comic, and I just or just Stephanie Williams I was talking to at the con. I don't even know anymore, man. But yeah, I mean, Moon Knight. Check out Moon Knight 26 for everything I'm talking about. What's bad in a comic book? Maybe even Amazing Spider-Man 2023. But I've come to my end with new comics in a way. Who's gonna suffer? I don't know. It's not the publisher. It's basically me for buying it and having very little dwindling resources and places to put them, and also my local comic book shop, because I'm going to be buying less. I'm not taking chances on Mad Cave or Scout anymore. I mean, it's like I said, you're printing up webtoons. You're wasting paper, staples, transport and delivery, gas and if this is modernity, then make mine traditional. But I hadn't, it was great to have read a whole stack of comics that I usually would never have read. So thank you very much to my friend who shared this with me. And the only physical comic I got, it was. I mean, the first couple of issues were all good. It was just like set up, and just like, kind of a flat payoff. But thank you so very much for tuning in. Will we be doing daily content this week? Comics content? We'll wait and see. Seriously, I don't want to overpromise, and I don't want to paint myself into a corner either. Because it's summertime. I want to enjoy myself. I got a couple of weeks left before I have to report back to work, and I know that we're going to get back into the usual groove when I get back to work, because I have a work schedule Monday through Friday, and then I have a shooting schedule on Saturdays and Sundays. And that gives me the organizational skills and a frame point to produce better and to be consistent. Because having time off, I've gotten quite used to being a little lazy, and it's not, and I genuinely love our community and our conversations, and I want to continue this comic book style conversation seriously and earnestly, and with some step and some pep in my step and some verve in my swerve. And I don't want to be bogged down by modernity. I mean, because it's all pink, purple, and blue on purpose. And you're not selling that to kids. Kids aren't buying those comic books. You're selling it to a very niche audience. And I'm at the place where it's not even about messaging. It's not about it is about art quality, and the reliance on digital it's kind of lazy, and it's a little soulless, and I don't want to support that. And we support things by buying things, and I withdraw my support. And we're gonna see what I will continue to buy new releases. We'll continue to have, new release Sundays. Yes, but I'm going to get really picky on what I'm buying going forward. I gotta wrap this up. Oh gosh, I had so much to say about one comic book. No, I actually read 15 new releases this week, and and most of them, as expected, suffer from digitalitis. And but I am so glad that a couple of them actually impressed me, and that's what I'm here for. And I'm glad you're here with us too. Thank you so very much. From Pikachu, who's returned from Acapulco, you little bastard, and pre-recorded live before a studio audience of my stuffed animals from our Boston studios. It's the Comics Coffee Table. Cheers. God bless. Namaste. Good luck. We will see you again in those funny pages. Ciao. Bye-bye.